NASA engineer, $61 billion a day, something like crazy. How much money do they spend a day, Joanne? Can you look that up for me? Give me a number. What does it cost a day to run NASA? I want the figure. When's the last time they went to the moon? Or when did they ever been to the moon? Did they go? Was it real? Kubrick. Just saying, you do a Kubrick and you go out there and you see him and he's telling the story. He's like, look, deathbed confessional. It's me. I was there. I put the lighting up and I did it. I shot it. And who the hell else did the really cool pan on the way out? And who the hell caught as it landed? Did they drop him off first? Parachute him down. Hey, listen, Chuck, you're going down to the surface of the moon. You're the first one. You're the first one. You're going on the moon. But we can't ever let anybody know that. You don't let anybody know that you were the first one on the moon. Okay? Because we have to let Armstrong get the credit. Okay? He does it. One small step for humanity, one large sweep for mankind. He does it like a John Kennedy voice instead. But you can't let anybody know that you're there because someone's got to man the camera. How are you going to get the capsule down onto the surface of the moon and not film that moment, for history? You're there. They're in the 265,000 miles away. We're doing it live. Yeah, I know they're watching it live. And also, I'm panning live 265,000 miles away. I'm using a toggle 64K, 8K, 8 kilobyte, guys. The whole thing. That's what the memory. 8 kilobyte. I had a toggle and I was able to freaking maneuver a camera on the moon. Live. You're there, right? Don't talk about Chuck. He's not allowed to be. You don't give him the credit, okay? Yeah, he shot it. Yeah, he was there first. Yeah, his footprints had to be wiped away afterwards. Can't let people come by and be like, "Who was wearing the 4.5s?" Yeah, he was really small feet. He had those really weird small feet. Normal size, 6'3" actually, but these really small 4.5 foot 4.5s for men's shoes. You had to go to the boys, the boys' Foot Locker. Foot Locker Kids. He's in there. Sometimes you would go and he would try to get some Keds, And when he got the Keds, they were like, this is a gold mine here. We have an adult wearing our shoes. We should see if he'll do a brand sponsorship, which he was totally all in on, that was how it all came out. Nobody knew. They were like, everybody thought it was real. And then all of a sudden, Chuck, he gets this brand partnership, this 4.5s. He's wearing them. And they're like, oh my goodness, Chuck, you're a genius. Why have we never met you before? He's like, well, it's because I was on the friggin' moon. They're like, what? You went to the moon? He's like, yeah. How the hell do you think that shot was done? That's where the whole thing opened up. Everybody's like, what? Yeah. Sometimes you just get the insight. You just know what's happening. You know what to do. You just pull the trigger. You shoot the shot. You get Chuck in there with his size 4.5s. Get it done, Chuck. Take the picture. We're going to wipe away your 4.5s afterwards. Because they got, you're there. And everybody's got their normal size shoes, men's size shoes between 9 and 12. You're there in 4.5. They're going to think there's an alien on the moon. Same time. So we have to, make sure we wipe those away before we leave. But, do me a favor. Grab that parachute. We're kicking you out the door. First parachuter ever on the moon, by the way. But nobody will ever know. By the way, it's going to take you 4 days once we kick you out to float down to the moon because of the gravity, So it's just like you're going to kind of do like this weird Chris Angel where you're doing like you had your hands like this and you're coming down, but you're going really slow. And like we get down before you. So like you have to somehow go like this. You do like a Charlie in the Chocolate Factory backwards with Grandpa Charlie, Grandpa, whatever the Charlie or whatever his name is. And you're going like this. And you're trying to go down. You didn't have the fizzy pop. I can't believe you didn't bring the fizzy pop. That's sometimes when I wonder about you. You're going. You're out there. You're doing it. You don't have a fizzy pop. Now you're on the moon, trying to get there. We're trying to time it. Capsule. Woo! Like we got to time that capsule so we're coming down. And you got the camera to do this. So then when Armstrong comes out and says, this is one small step for humanity, one giant leap for mankind, you're there capturing it, and you zoom in at that point. I want you to get a zoom in on Armstrong when he gets that coming off the ladder, you know, sound staging it. You get in, okay? And when Buzz Aldrin comes off that spacecraft, you throw something at Buzz, okay? Just do it. I want you to throw something at Buzz. He says he's number 2 for a reason. He's crap. You know, Armstrong was the guy. We needed, like, also that name, you know, Buzz. No, I'm sorry. You had to be a number 2 when your name was Buzz. You talked to your parents about that. You actually, your numbers were better than Armstrong's. Like when we look back at it, you were like top recruit. You were the top cadet, you know, and you did the G thing better than Armstrong. But like Buzz Aldrin, no, I'm sorry. That's a number 2, you know. Neil Armstrong. Yeah, no, that one sounds good, guys. It's a strong name. We're going with Neil Armstrong because it's a strong name, guys. Buzz Aldrin, it sounds like he's going to take a nap. Buzz, Buzz, go Buzz off. Oh, go. Are you going to take an Aldrin? He's number 2. He's a number 2 guy. No, we're going with a super strong name. Do we have any strong names? Anything that's a really strong name on staff? No, that crap guy? That guy eats Fritos and farts all the time? Come on. You going to put him on the capsule with Aldrin and everybody else? No, you're right. It is a very strong name, Neil Armstrong. You know what? Let's do it. They can deal with the Frito farts. You know, it's times like this that remembering the occurrences of the moon mission that really keep me going at night, you know, where I'm just like, yeah, I could go to sleep now. I learned everything I could about the landing on the moon, the original one, and Chuck with his cinematography skills and his size 4.5s. Oshkosh, too. Sometimes he would go to Oshkosh because his socks, he needed special socks. I mean, 4.5s? What are you going to do? You're going to wear like 9 to 10, 4.5? No, I'm sorry. And he had a wide foot. It was still really wide. He had like a chunky, wide, weird foot. It was only 4.5s, and his toes were short too. So it was like very odd. But look, he still made it work, you know? He just couldn't tap dance very well. Oh my goodness. Oh, he couldn't tap dance. Oh my goodness. Can't keep it together. Joanne. He called Fred Astaire, though. He's like, is there any way around it? Like, is there any way I can overcome? You know, like I've heard that manifesting is a thing. Is there any chance that, you know, you can get like Gregory Hines and the two of you? We got coming down. Fred Astaire, Gregory Hines. I get my tap shoes on. Tap shoes with, you know, when you do a tap shoe and you're dealing with the 4.5s from Chuck, it was like, he didn't have a chance to be because it was so close. Poor guy. Chuck, you know. He got the brand deal, though. You know, when he did that, he walked in there, he got the deal. He's got the Keds. Everybody's talking about the Chuck Keds. Everybody was like, we went through a period of time where people were like, did you get the Chucks? Did you get the Chucks? Everybody wanted the Chuck Taylors. And then it went from Chuck Taylors to getting the Chuck Keds. Did you get the Chucks? Well, which ones? The Taylors or the Keds? The freaking Keds. What, are you kidding me? Everybody went crazy for the Keds. The stock blew through the roof for Keds. I wish I was part of that bubble. I didn't get in, you know. But they were doing very well, you know, because of when you get there, the Keds, and you got Chuck, his 4.5s. He had the meaty 4.5s. So he had 4.5s this way and this way. You know, that was weird, you know, because you had to make a block foot. What the freak? They had to make a block. They had to make a block foot shoe. You know, do you know how hard it is to make square leather? especially with the part that comes down on an angle, at the front, so the toes don't totally go, like, you don't want the toes to have that much breathing room, so it's like a straight up box. So you got it, you're still doing it, but the back is straight, and then the front you're going, it's like you're walking around like Eddie Munster, and you're trying to figure out if you can use that as a skill. Can I use my box feet, for something, sliding through like an air duct or something to get into the bank, or kicking through a wall and making it a perfect square. Or perhaps you can get a gig where when it's warm enough, you just kick your foot into the ground really, really hard, and it's like a perfect 4x4 hole for you to put a post for fencing. And you could be like the fencing master. People will be like, oh, I had to pay $8,000 for my fence. And you're like, I'll do it for $6,000. And you're like, how could you do it for so cheap? And you're like, whack, and you show them, and they're like, hired. Anybody who's going to show me how they do it in the moment, then they're there, and they're actually like, hey, this is me performing for you as a freebie. Hole in the ground, post. He put a post too. That was crazy. This guy brought the actual post. He goes, and he went like this after, like he was freaking Marky Mark in the Funky Bunch. And the guy's like, oh my goodness, post in the ground, post in the ground. Look at all the fools at the post in the ground. And he hired him on the spot. Yeah, he got the gig because he had the weird freaking like fleshy 4x4 shoe. He had a specially made one when he got that gig where he was the guy doing the fencing, where they made one out of steel like he was a horse. Instead of branding it in so it stuck forever, he was able to tie it on. And when he had that steel, and they'd actually, this was just when he got really, really skilled and he was able to walk on them, they would actually sharpen them. So it was an easier push into the ground, and he'd build that hole to get really quick. And I'll tell you what, that $6,000... profit, because he's there. Done. Guy comes in behind, walking a couple feet down, whack. He's in and out. $6,000. The other guy has spent like freaking days digging holes, But Chuck was not only an amazingly skilled cinematographer when it came to the moon landing and being the first to land on the moon. And then like they parachuted him down. Remember, he did like, it was so slow. He needed to do Grandpa Charlie. And he's doing like this, because he forgot his fizzy pop. That's on him, But he finally gets down there. He beats us just in time so we could come down. Capsule situation up there. And he's zooming in, right? He zooms in. Wait a second. I'm going to go up and watch the capsule, and then we're doing this. That's why they put him there, because they realized there's no way we can actually do that from, Cape Canaveral. We're going to have to do that. We're going to have to drop you off first, Chuck. Don't say a freaking word. Remember, anybody who speaks doesn't ever speak again. You know what I mean? I am not going to say what I mean when I say that, but you know what I mean. If you talk, you sleep with the fish. You sleep with the fishes. If you don't know it, now you know it, Chuck. That's why Chuck kept his mouth shut for a very long time until he got that sponsorship brand deal. Keds, that was a huge turning point. Huge turning point for Chuck's career. And all of a sudden, when he's Ked sponsoring it, and they're like, oh, tell us more, Chuck. They want to see it. They're trying to figure out his meaty, fleshy foot. And they're like, oh, tell us more, Chuck. And he's like, well, did you know I was the first to leave horse footprint posts on the moon? And I created like a hitching post on the moon. Because when I was there, I got there first. You guys want to hear a good story. They dropped me down. I'm there. I'm holding on because I had to get in that specific area, that target area. They're like, look, Chuck, you need to land there because that's where we want the capsule to come down. I get down there doing it. Grandpa Charlie, I'm getting down. I finally get to the surface of the moon because I'm seeing them come down the capsule. I'm like, these guys are moving too much. Like, I don't know why because it's like this is a crap capsule. This thing is crap. And I'm like, I think I need to figure out a way to build like, almost like a hole for each of the feet on this stupid lunar module as it lands on the surface of the Earth. So instead of it being like topsy-turvy, it falls right into these perfectly sized 4x4 holes. Oh, it looks like a 3-packer. Bang, biggity boo. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bang, biggity boo. And he's pushing through that gravity. 2, 3, 4, 5. Bang, biggity boo! Lunar capsule. Neil Armstrong comes out. You know? First step for man. Soundstage in it. Look, sometimes you get the answers and they're right in front of you. Sometimes you decide to look at things and say, sure, that makes sense. And sometimes you see an astronaut literally taking like cardboard from space and opening and closing it like that's the hatch and it worked. And then you say to yourself, are people really stupid? And then I'd say to you, abso-freaking-lutely. And me, I was too until I saw everything. But Armstrong, first on the moon, biggest lie of them all. You know, like if it happened, it was Chuck who was on the moon first. Just letting you know.